What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday afternoon in America. That can mean only one thing. It's time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric Big 12 college football show. That's right, it's the one. It's the only. It is the biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster, alongside my co-host, Brownie. Wherever you are, thanks so much for making us a part of your Tuesday here. Hey, school in Texas has been out for 2 days now, and it's my school's going to be out again tomorrow. The reason we're doing this in the afternoon is because I had to drive my wife to work this morning, so I got to go pick her up in the ice. But here you're getting an afternoon edition of the Biggest 12. And, you know, if you're not listening to it live, this is why we always tell you to check us out wherever you get your podcast. Anyway, I'm doing everything out of order. You're watching the Biggest 12. Please subscribe to the show. That's the main thing that I need from you. Subscribe to the show. We want to make this thing a movement. We want to make this thing a international experience. There it is at Big 12 VOCFB. Also, you know, during the fall TCU postgame shows on TCO VOCFB, hit that little subscribe button, ring that bell, and then you'll know if you don't follow me on Twitter whenever something like this happens. Oh, it's a 4 o'clock show today, not a 6 o'clock show or 6:15, whenever we usually go. Also, like I said, follow me on Twitter, follow Brownie on Twitter. Nothing is set up the way I like for it to be right now. There it is at Cyclone Brownie from a man to my right, my right, your right as well. You're watching, yeah. And also me at Clint_Foster55. Follow the Voice of College Football everywhere you do your social media things, and download us wherever you get your podcasts. Also, subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. That is at Clint Foster Creations. The quest to try and re-edit Remember the Alamo Bowl into an episodic format has been an extensive one. It is obviously not finished yet. The copyright trolls, they be prowling. They're always out there looking for someone to devour, like me. So, but anyway, as soon as that is ready, you will see it. I'm also working on other things as well. Yeah, and also lastly, check out thevoiceofcollegefootball.com. Lots of great off-season content, discussions, all of that sort of thing. And, of course, the inimitable college VOCFB shop. You can get all of your VOCFB branded merch. Okay, let's get the show started. Brownie, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday?
Probably better than you, because at least I'm used to this kind of weather.
Well, you know, listen, everybody loves to clown on Texas for how unbuilt for winter weather we are. But the thing that people who don't live here don't understand, we don't get snow, right? This isn't something that's like fun and beautiful and you can plow it out of the way. You know, isn't that nice? We get a sheet of ice, right? In this case, it's like a 1 inch thick, 2 inch thick sheet of ice that you just kind of slide around on. And that's why, at least school-wise, things tend to grind to a halt around here whenever we have winter weather. But, you know, Ted Cruz is your barometer. Whenever Ted Cruz is cruising on out of here, you know it's probably going to be pretty bad. And this was the worst it's been in a few years, I'd say.
I mean, you guys could also not have, like, no tread on your tires and actually go the speed limit.
Yeah, that is the thing. So I've done a little bit of highway driving since I started. Most people are being very sensible, but every now and then you're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you speeding around here? Like, some people have death wishes.
I'm not going to lie. If I was down there, I'd probably be speeding faster than everybody else, but I'm also used to it. So
yeah. And I can drive on it pretty well. I mean, you just got to know, you know, you have to take it easy. And like, if you start to fishtail, turn into it, you know, all the things. So anyway.
Fishtail. That's why you get an all-wheel drive.
Yeah, well.
If you fishtail in an all-wheel drive, you're just screwed. So
yeah, neither of our vehicles are all-wheel drives. Okay. Well, we had a schedule release last Wednesday, okay? So this feels like old news at this point. But you know the Biggest 12 has to talk about it. I have extensively looked at all of these schedules. And ladies and gentlemen, I created a formula to scientifically and unequivocally rank all 16 Big 12 schedules by difficulty. Okay, so I'm going to explain my system to you, and then we're going to show you the ranking of the 16 schedules, and we'll dive into each schedule individually. Obviously, there's 16 teams. We got to get right into it. So what I did is I ranked all 16 Big 12 teams. Basically did a way too early preseason ranking, right? Who do I think is going to be best? Who do I think is going to be worst? Just straight up, right? And if I award points, difficulty points, in inverse order of ranking, right? So if you are playing, so here's a spoiler alert for you. Texas Tech is number 1 on my preseason list, right? If you have Texas Tech on your schedule, that's 16 difficulty points. So Brownie, does that much make sense to you since I'm explaining? Okay, so that's 60. So, and that's in descending order, right? Then you get an additional difficulty point if a game is on the road. You get 2 difficulty points if the game is on the road at a few certain locations. Those locations being Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia. Okay, commonly thought to be the more difficult places to play in the Big 12. So you get an extra difficulty point there. You also get a difficulty point for a tough rivalry game, right? Like where the person you're playing is really, really wanting to beat you. That's an additional point. You also get 1 point for Power 5 non-conference games or tough G5. So like you get 1 point for playing Tulane, and also an additional point if that's on the road, obviously. 2 points if it's a top 25 non-conference game. So do I have you with me so far, Brad?
Man, that's 4 points for Iowa right there.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Iowa with 4 points. Exactly.
Low score wins, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, the lower your
Like
score,
golf.
the easier your schedule. The lower your score, the easier your schedule, right? So we are going to be ranking these from easiest to hardest. And I'm trying to think if I've left out any information as far as
neutral sites
go. Oh,
I know there's neutral sites.
I didn't award points for neutral sites. Now, like for the TCU North Carolina game, I gave that an away game point because like you're traveling to Ireland. Like that's, it's not necessarily a hostile environment or anything, but it's right. A more difficult situation.
I was more thinking like West Virginia playing Virginia over in Charlotte.
Oh yeah. See, I
Baylor
feel like
playing Auburn in Atlanta. Isn't the KU ASU game in London?
Oh yes, I guess it is. I should have added an additional point for Kansas and Arizona State.
Yeah, and
well, so I will do that.
Fortunately, they do have a bye week after, so you don't have to worry about like the bye week or the after week jitters. But yeah, like I know that Arizona State plays TMU and then has to go to London the next week and play Kansas.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so those additional points for Arizona State and Kansas does not change their position in the ranking.
Okay.
At all. Technically,
Dang,
it ties Kansas with another team, but I would still have this other team above them. And let me make sure that I've explained everything. Okay, yeah. 0 points for FCS or G5 teams. But okay. Before we get into it, because there's one thing I have to take care of really quickly, let's go ahead and get our Voice of College Football bets out of the way, and then we will do this thing. Here we go.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
All right, so let's get this thing rolling. I've explained the criteria to you. I added up all these numbers last night. And without further ado, the easiest schedule for 2026 in the Big 12. And I think this automatically makes them, dare I say, a dark horse for Arlington, the Houston Cougars with 73 difficulty points. Now, let's take a look at this schedule because I want you to know what I'm talking about here. Houston has a lot of favorable things their way when you look at the schedule. One of the most favorable things is that they are one of only 2 teams in the Big 12 who have to play 3 teams in what I would consider to be the top half of the Big 12 conference. So here we got them starting out against Oregon State. A weirdly high number of Big 12 teams are playing Oregon State and Washington State, by the way. They do go to Tech in Lubbock, so that got them a lot of points. Then they got UCF at home, at Kansas State, Oklahoma State at home, which I think Oklahoma State is going to be a lot better this year. I have them like right at 8. At Utah, and then Cincinnati. November's very easy, or very manageable, I should say. Cincinnati, at Colorado, at West Virginia, Baylor. Brownie, what are your thoughts on this schedule? And do you agree, just without having looked into anything else, that this might be the most manageable schedule in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think honestly, you're looking at a very, I don't necessarily want to call it easy, but definitely very manageable front side of the schedule. Oregon State, obviously, you can lean one of either way, whether or not Oregon State's going to have the wheels for Houston or vice versa. I definitely think that that's a lot better for them being at home against Oregon State than having to travel already way up there. Having Southern also before Tech, I think, is going to be beneficial for them just as like a tune-up game. Obviously, you don't want to slip and fall against a team like that, but at least having that to where, who knows, maybe you can pull your starters in the second half, rest them, get your backups some reps, maybe do some goofy rotations for your defensive line and your linebacker core, just to give them additional snaps with that group to, prep yourself for Texas Tech. I'm not saying that they're going to come out lights out, especially when you're going into Lubbock against Tech, and Tech obviously is going to be spending $100 million this year on a roster. But I think that it does then set them up very well. Obviously, you're traveling to Georgia Southern, but I think that that should be a very easy win. UCF, I think, is not going to be that very good again this year. And then I think what happens when you look into it is the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th is going to be, I personally think, the make or break of that schedule.
Yeah. October is pretty brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, the back end, I think, is going to be fairly easy. That West Virginia game is going to be kind of a trap game. Baylor might potentially be a trap, depending on if Aranda is still at the helm or if somehow they got a head coach in the middle of the season. I don't know. But, yeah, I do think that they have a fairly nice schedule. It's just kind of weird because, like, when you look at it, almost every single one of those teams was either in the bottom or has a new head coach.
Yep. Yeah, Utah's tough to play at Utah, but there's a world where they could struggle this year. I mean, I still rank them in the top half.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, West Virginia was the main game where I gave them their rivalry point because that's kind of developed into an interesting little back and forth.
There's some beef.
Houston has come in. Yeah.
West Virginia has beef with everybody. Let's be real here.
Yeah. But yeah, and that Texas Tech game, on one hand, that could be beneficial to Houston that they're playing them so early because, maybe Sorsby and the new guys, they haven't quite settled into the new system yet. Maybe you can sneak up on them a little bit easier than you could later in the season. Baylor very well may not have a head coach by the time they're playing Baylor.
I mean, if you also think about it, if you also think about it this way, playing Tech earlier in the season impedes your top 25 ranking far less because, you're going to drop down, but then you have the rest of the season to pick it back up. Yep. And we all know that Texas Tech is probably going to steamroll everybody. So having the loss early is actually going to be more beneficial to you because it should pick you up in the AP poll faster because it was a quality loss. Now that we're starting to see that the SEC bias is slowly deteriorating.
Yes, yes, yes. So there you have it. Houston, really a nice little situation. It's gonna be fun to do that preview with the guys from the podcast. Because there's a world where Houston, I mean, shoot, there's a world where Houston, dare I say it, goes 11-1. I mean, that could happen.
Yeah.
I feel like it could happen with the schedule. Okay,
Sneaky.
looking ahead to the number 15th most difficult schedule in the Big 12, and we'll see if it keeps them out of the playoffs this go around. BYU,
Play
76 difficulty points. The 15th most difficult schedule. Let me pull it up here. Now, BYU, they do play Notre Dame at home mid-season, which is a game that I am so excited for.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be very fun. Of course, we're talking about we're mostly looking at this for Big 12 championship, so that's why Notre Dame only gives them 2 difficulty points in the grand scheme of things. But if I can finally get this daggum thing pulled up, we'll show it to you.
They genuinely don't play anybody. What
Yeah,
the heck?
they have an extremely favorable schedule. Here you have it.
And hey, I'm on that, so don't give me crap.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, look at so obviously the most difficult road game they have is Utah, and it's really not particularly close.
Yeah. I mean, holy war. Arizona State maybe be their worst home game.
Yeah, well, Arizona. I think Arizona. Arizona State.
One or the other.
Right around the same.
I don't know how good Arizona. Obviously, we can't tell how good Arizona State's going to be now that a lot of their key pieces on offense is gone.
Yeah, I ranked Arizona State at 4th, Arizona at 6th. So both right there in the top half. But yeah, I mean, outside of Utah, an extremely manageable November. Outside of Notre Dame, your toughest games are at home, right? Really, it's like, I mean, they have a couple of tests early with going to TCU and the Arizona game, but like this is just so extremely manageable. I mean, points wise, it's more difficult than Houston, and that's probably exclusive.
Probably inflated by Notre Dame.
Yeah, but yeah, this is. I mean,
I feel like
this could be
they aren't going to play anybody. Like,
yeah.
Let's be real here. Like, Arizona is going to probably fight you fairly well. At TCU could be a trap game depending on like how spring ball works for you guys.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing against Jimmy Rogers and a bunch of makeshift dudes for Iowa State, so that's not going to be challenging. Then the following week you have Notre Dame. The one thing that I would say is maybe that Iowa State game might be that trap game because they might be like, oh, depending on how good Iowa State is at that point, maybe they're overlooking them.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I'm thinking that might be the only trap game that they have on this schedule. Because then, like, after Utah, they got a cakewalk.
Yeah. No, I truly believe that TCU is the toughest team on their schedule. Like, hands down. And that's not just because I think that TCU could be a lot better this year. I say it every year. I feel like a broken record. But I mean, like,
you guys keep stumbling into 8-4s, so
we'll probably do it again. But yeah, this is just so, and I will add that if they don't beat Notre Dame, I mean, this schedule might be so easy that the playoff finds an excuse to keep them out again, right? Like, they'll say, well, who have you beaten? The
only competition you had was against Notre Dame and you lost at home.
Yep. So,
but then I can also see it on the same side where like BYU gets kicked out of the playoffs and Notre Dame gets in, and then all the BYU fans are like, man, if only we had a head-to-head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait for these arguments later.
Yeah. All right. So that's your number 15 schedule there. And coming in at number 14, if I can get her pulled up here, your 14th most difficult schedule is your boys, Brownie, Iowa State with 79 difficulty points.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, when we look at the schedule, obviously we're away at BYU, we're away at Iowa. We do play Utah. And then honestly, our only other big game is K-State at the end of the season for Farmageddon. The very last consecutive Farmageddon, by the way.
It's wild.
I think it's definitely interesting because we still do hit two of probably what I would say is going to be arguably the top three teams in the conference with BYU, and then you can swap out Arizona or Utah being the other one. But like we do have a couple of, I think, top five teams. We just unfortunately also have SEMO, Bowling Green, West Virginia. Obviously, is going to be a slightly tough one with
but you have them at home.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be interesting on how Okie State is this year.
Yeah.
Because if Okie State goes on a tear, I think that this schedule goes from being one of the easiest to arguably one of the hardest. Just because we have so many of the big hitters, but at least we avoided Tech.
Yeah. You avoid Tech. You get K-State at home.
Yeah, we do have 7 home games, which I think definitely helped our strength of schedule out, being a little bit on the lower side. It's also really nice that we have 4 home games, 4 out of 5 in basically September and beginning of October. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think it could go from arguably one of the weakest to the toughest, depending on how Okie State turns out. I think is going to be the big factor.
Yeah, truly. But yeah, BYU, that game at BYU is the toughest, without a doubt. Yeah. And it sucks that you got to go to BYU, to Arizona back-to-back weeks when those are both going to be solid teams.
We got a bye week in between.
Oh, you do? Okay, well,
yeah.
So that helps.
But it's our only bye week. But yeah,
it's very front loaded, which is unfortunate when you've got a brand new coach and a mostly brand new team. But 2 out of those first 3 games are, they're paycheck games, so that helps, I do believe. But November, with the exception of Kansas State, is very manageable, so you can finish strong.
Yeah,
bowl game should be very much within reach.
I think that's what we're kind of shooting for right now, is going to be a 6-6, 7-5 season. Get to a bowl game.
Because literally, if I just count SEMO, Bowling Green, West Virginia, Baylor, Cincinnati, UCF, that's 6 wins, right?
Yeah.
That's if you don't beat anybody that I have ranked above you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a sneak game.
Sure. Of course. All right. So there you have it. Iowa State, ladies and gentlemen. Your 13th most difficult schedule, and a big reason to believe in the bounce back, is Oklahoma State with 80 difficulty points. We'll get it pulled up. They do play Oregon early, but they have Oregon at home. And here we go. So, which is what we're looking at. At West Virginia to start things out. I mean, so the road schedule is pretty tough, right? West Virginia, Iowa State, Kansas State, those are all 3 2-point road games. They do play Texas Tech, which always gives your schedule a boost in difficulty, but they have them at home. It's going to be interesting to see what year 1 of the Oklahoma State Mean Green looks like. I do think there's no way that they go winless.
No. And I think that I don't think we're going to be able to tell how good this Okie State team is off of the Tulsa game. I think the Oregon game is going to get us a glimpse of how good this team is.
Yeah, that's a measuring stick for sure.
But I don't think we're going to fully know how good these guys are until probably that Houston game.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be halfway through. They've played a couple of the Big 12 teams, and then you're really going to see, is a G5 team able to play against those Big 12 teams, yes or no?
Right. For what it's worth, I have them playing the bottom 3 in the conference. UCF, Kansas, and Colorado, I think, are the 3 worst
Yeah.
teams in the conference of 26. And they have all 3 of them on the schedule. So that certainly helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps them out. It 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 just sucks that they have at Iowa State, at K-State, into Texas Tech, back to back to back.
Yeah, you could very easily have a 4-game losing streak there between
Yeah.
those Colorado and Kansas games. But, I mean, all that being said, I mean, a bowl game is there for the taking, right? If you beat
Oh, and
Tulsa, Murray State, UCF, Colorado, Kansas, and then you just got to either find a way to beat West Virginia um, or steal one of those games, an Iowa State, a Kansas State, maybe a Houston, right? That
and it's
gets you
kind
6
of
wins.
wild that Okie State fans are more excited to get a bowl game.
Yeah.
Because, it's been a few years removed, and they've always been sitting there like, "Oh, we should be in the college football playoffs," to all
Yeah.
of a sudden, like, "We're super excited. We might get to the Liberty Bowl."
Yeah, right. But it's hey, that's why bowl games matter, man. Everyone's in different places. You know,
Oh, yeah.
don't tell Bomber for Pete's sake, but yeah. But yeah, so there you have it. Oklahoma State. Like I said, a great opportunity for a bounce back
Yeah.
with that schedule. Okay, moving right along. Your 12th most difficult, and I will actually upgrade this from 80 points to 81 points because I forgot about the London game. Arizona State, your 12th most difficult schedule. We'll get it pulled up. They do play A&M, which will be a difficult game for them.
I think the first 3 weeks is going to be rough for them. I mean, I don't think that Morgan State's going to put up a lot of trouble, but going to TMU and then getting on basically a flight to London is going
Yeah,
to
the
be
fact that they don't have a
rough as
bye
shit.
week before that, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily you're playing Kansas, so that helps.
Yeah,
But
it just kind of sucks because what is it? It's because Labor Day or Memorial Day isn't like at the beginning of like September or something that we don't get like that additional built in. So like yeah, it kind of sucks for overseas. That's kind of why I'm glad that Iowa State got it because we technically got 3 bye weeks
yeah,
last year's schedule. So yeah, I think that those 2 games is going to be arguably the toughest.
yeah,
Obviously, you can still say Texas Tech is going to be the toughest and BYU is going to be the toughest, but like
yeah.
I'm
That
sorry, but you're
October,
going from freaking College Station to London
yeah,
and playing another game in 7 days is absolutely ridiculous.
yeah,
Like that's not a time zone going from Central or like Mountain West to East Coast. Like that is a freaking 12-hour difference for these guys.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Not
like,
really. It's I think like an 8, but whatever.
but literally that 3-game stretch at Tech, Kansas State, at BYU, like,
BYU. Yeah, that's gonna be rough too.
who hates Arizona State at the Big 12 offices for that one? Like,
And the craziest
that
part is
sucks.
they're not even the toughest.
What do you
Not
mean?
even like the highest and the toughest of
Oh
schedules
no,
either.
nowhere close. Nowhere close to the toughest. That's just a tough stretch right there, right?
Yeah.
And then I do think that Oklahoma State, Arizona, that's a pretty tough 1-2 punch there at the end of the season. Obviously, Arizona being a big rivalry game, that's always going to be difficult.
Are we thinking that ASU has to be bowl eligible? 2, 4, 5. They have to probably go 5-0 to start considering. No, they can go 4
No,
games.
they got 6. I mean, because look, Morgan State,
Colorado,
Kansas,
UCF.
Morgan State, Kansas, Baylor, Hawaii, Colorado, UCF is 6.
Well, I was just more so thinking like the mentality part of it. If you go 5-0 and then you lose to Tech, lose to K State, lose to BYU, are you going to get out of that slump against Colorado?
I mean, you got them at home.
Is UCF going to be the snap of that? Because like these are college kids; they're emotional boys. Like
That's
if
true.
you drop that TMU game and you also drop that KU game, you are going to be fighting tooth and nail the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, Either way, moving on to our number 11 most difficult schedule in the Big 12. Look no further than the Utah Utes. 82 difficulty points for number 11 Utah. And I'll get it pulled up for us. Obviously, they have BYU at home, so that helps things. But why does ESPN, it never wants to change the schedule when it never wants to change it the first time. Okay, they do play the Idaho Vandals, so we'll give them that, right? That's challenging. First, if only they were going to the Kibbe Dome.
Oh, dude, the best dome ever.
Okay, so they got Arkansas at home, which should be a win. Let's be honest. And Utah State. So 3-0 start, right? I'm expecting, even though I think Utah will take a step back, they'll regress to the mean this year. The road schedule is manageable. Probably your toughest road game is maybe Arizona. I mean, like Iowa State's the toughest environment.
Say Arizona.
Iowa State's the toughest environment. But yeah, I mean, TCU and Arizona and back-to-back away games, that's difficult. November in general is difficult, right? You get the rivalry against BYU, who you've dropped two in a row against, maybe more, definitely two since joining the Big 12. Then you got Arizona, TCU, and West Virginia, who I think will be a lot better. October is very manageable, though, right? So if you can steal one against Houston, then maybe you're going into November pushing for a spot in Arlington, right? That could make things interesting. But what are your thoughts on it, Brownie?
Yeah, I think it's definitely beneficial for them to where they're also going to be playing an Arkansas team that has a new head coach. So realistically, their first 4 games are going to be against easier opponent or coaches that are also trying to figure out their rosters. And then obviously Kansas is probably going to be the doormat. Colorado is probably the doormat. So honestly, like best case scenario, you're 6-0 going against Houston. And Exelston Field is not exactly a place that I would say is no slouch to game day environment either. So, I mean, these guys could be cooking all the way until the back half, and then it's the BYU game potentially the doom or gloom bus.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's definitely manageable. I think that they can do very well. I think that they're going to be obviously in the top half, even with the new head coaching staff. But yeah, I'm gonna find it interesting how this all plays out because we do have the potential of a lot of one-loss teams being in the Big 12 championship game.
Yep.
Where we might have that cute little
tiebreaker thing.
Tiebreaker chart crap that we had last time.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if that happens.
That was emotional for me.
Very well may happen, man. Very well may. Okay, coming in at number 10 with 83 difficulty points. And Dishfish, here's a reason for some optimism. The TCU Horned Frogs, right there close to the middle of the pack difficulty-wise of schedule. Now, I will say this. The end is tough, right? November is very tough.
November is very tough.
Very tough. You've got at Arizona versus Kansas State and Utah at home, and then at Texas Tech. And you do play BYU earlier in the year. I'm actually shocked based on my metrics that this came in only at 10th. But, I mean, we'll get to – I mean, certainly when you're talking about teams that are lower in my rankings, they're obviously going to play more teams higher just out of necessity. So that adds to point totals. But, I mean, listen, here's the thing. If you get into November, theoretically you're playing your best ball at the end of the season, right? So part of me is like, okay, well, if we're healthy, then you want to play these teams at the end of the year when Craig has had the whole season to get used to everything and the defense is firing on all cylinders and all of the things, right? I think that you take out the fact that North Carolina is in Ireland. I mean, there's literally no reason at all why this shouldn't be a 4-0 start. Now we've dropped an early game to UCF before a game that we should have won, but hopefully this year is even more manageable. So hopefully you're 4-0 going into that BYU game, and you get them at home this time, right? So there is a huge opportunity if you don't just pull a Sonny Dykes and lose some BS, there's a huge opportunity to be going into November with at worst one loss, right? And maybe even you steal that game against BYU at home. Listen, there's a lot of reason for optimism. And if you can steal that BYU game, well, then hey, buddy, you're in one of the driver's seat spots for Arlington. Brownie, am I blowing too much sunshine up my own skirt, or do you think that this schedule is manageable?
Oh, it's definitely manageable. When you only have to play BYU and Texas Tech, I mean, again, Utah is probably still the top portion. Kansas State is probably going to be top portion. Arizona is going to be the top portion. But I mean, can
But
you
you get so
even
many of those games at
call?
home, right? Having
Yeah,
Utah, Kansas
and
State, BYU at home helps, and West
yeah,
Virginia.
and honestly, like, is Dave Aranda even going to have Baylor ready to play any sort of football, or is he just going to be checked out? Because, like,
That may be his last game, if we're going to be completely honest.
yeah, how dare he lose the Blue Bonnet rivalry and then get canned?
I don't know what you're referring to. I've never heard of that before.
But yeah, like, how fun! Give the man his flowers. Come on, just give him the Blue Bonnet flowers as a consolation prize. You can keep the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, there we go.
He can take the blue bonnets with him. But like, yeah, I think that you guys do have the ability to be bowl eligible by the end of October, even potentially the middle of October. And then you guys are just playing to either compete for the Big 12 championship game. Because again, Arizona's probably going to be up there. Utah is probably going to be up there. BYU is going to be up there. And Tech is going to be up there. So if you can knock them down, then it props you up because let's face it, it's probably going to be Texas Tech versus whoever the tiebreaker.
Yeah, fill in the blank.
Yeah. Also, Dishfish, if you help a brother get down there, I will come to the K-State game and I will wear a Mild Cats shirt that will actually say Mild Cats on it, and it will be purple. So
we'll
I
need
won't
to get
be
you
the
back
only
down here again.
I won't be the only red person in the VIP section.
Well, I don't know if I'll get those same tickets again. But yeah, listen, it happens every year, but I'm getting there is a lot of reason for optimism, not the least of which that it appears the Baylor curse is over. We've excised anyone associated with 2014 Baylor from our coaching staff. So, and immediately we're in ESPN's too early top 25, right? So it happens every year. I was ready to not be optimistic going into this season because this was the most ho-hum, disappointing 9-4 I've ever seen in my life, with the exception of Amazing Alamo Bowl. But there's just so many reasons to be optimistic. I love this portal class. I think the schedule lines up pretty nicely. Look out for the frogs. Look out for the frogs. Of course, there is a world where we lose 4 games again, and we're 8-4 again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. O-line is listen. I really love. So Dishfish is talking about the O-line. I love the 2 transfers that we got in the O-line. Why isn't this showing up on the screen, Dishfish? I love the 2 transfers that we got in the O-line. I do think that still right tackle is the biggest question for me, right? Who plays right tackle? And maybe the staff feels good about Van Hoy or Ryan Hughes or whoever. But yeah, the O-line will have something to prove for sure. Hopefully, though, Samus brings in all that physicality and this. I like the new strength guy a lot, right? Physicality, he must have said it 3 times in his little introductory little speech there. So hopefully that bodes well. All right, moving on to number 9. Our number 9 most difficult schedule is the Kansas State Wildcats with 85 points. Here we go. Let's take a look at it. Kansas State. They have one of the more difficult non-conference schedules, playing Washington State and Tulane, but they do play them both at home. Really, what you look at that's difficult for them is the game at Arizona State. Again, another difficult November. We've got a lot of, not as hard as TCU's, but Oklahoma State at TCU, Arizona at Iowa State. That's a pretty tough November. and then Houston on the schedule. I think Houston's going to be good. What are your thoughts on Kansas State's schedule, Brad?
They might go 2-1, I think, at the beginning of the schedule.
Yeah.
Wazoo, obviously, it's the Iowa State Cougars.
Yeah.
So Wazoo has to rebuild their roster for the second consecutive year in a row. So I do think that they're gonna be able to start off 2-0 under Colin Klein. Tulane might give them a little trip up. It kind of all depends on how well that they do with their coaching staff. Cincinnati's going to be a cakewalk. I think Houston's going to be it. You're going to breeze past Kansas. And then I realistically think that those last 6 games is what's going to make or break that season, honestly. Like once you get into Arizona State, Colorado, Okie State, TCU, Arizona, ISU, because yeah, you should be able to put up against Colorado right now. But I'm not slouching necessarily on Okie State. It's just gonna be how Colin Klein has him prepared for that. And then those last 3 games is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. And it's interesting because I know Kansas State folks, and I know when we have John Grove on and we have Jay Fitzgerald on and everybody else, I know everyone's very excited in Manhattan about Colin Klein. Why wouldn't they be, right? You're getting a favorite son back and all of that. But I think the rest of the Big 12 is kind of like, I mean, what are they really going to look like with Colin Klein? Like, yeah, he's a good offensive coordinator, but is he going to be able to build this program into something? And there have been a lot of examples of favorite sons coming back. I mean, look no further than Cliff Kingsbury in Texas Tech, right? Guy had a lot of skins on the wall as an offensive coordinator and could not build jack squat at Texas Tech. So listen, I'm not saying Kansas State fans that it's going to be that way, but
sometimes it's not great to bring home your heroes.
Yeah, exactly. But right there, a middle of the road schedule for them to try and contend with. And we'll of course have that preview when we have it. Okay, so number 8, your 8th most difficult schedule. We're getting into the top half now. And listen, we keep saying they're a shoe-in for Arlington, but the schedule makers didn't make it easy on them. Texas Tech is your number 8 most difficult schedule. 87 points on my difficulty scale. And let's pull it up now. Here we go. So you go to Oregon State early on, which is still a cakewalk, but it's a long trip. So they play. Here's their toughest games. They play Houston, Arizona State, Arizona, and TCU. All of those are at home, right? So that's really helpful. But you do play at Oklahoma State, which is a tough environment. They may be rolling by that point. You will go to an empty Baylor Stadium. I mean, the road schedule is very easy, but you've got a lot of upper echelon teams that you do have to play: Arizona State, TCU, Oklahoma State, Houston. Brownie, what do you think?
Do they seriously only leave the state of Texas 3 times?
Well, I know we only leave the state of Texas 3 times. I should have said that as well.
Oregon, Colorado,
yeah,
and
1, 2,
Ohio.
3, 4 times.
Oklahoma doesn't count as leaving the frickin' state. Don't argue with me.
Yeah, you got to fly to Stillwater. You can't. Listen,
hey,
it's a whole other world up there.
Stillwater.
Okay? It's a whole other world up there. But the teams don't. Well,
yeah, that's true.
A lot of teams fly to. I mean, I know TCU flies to Tech. TCU doesn't drive to Tech. But yeah, Tech. So Tech and TCU both barely leave the state of Texas.
I still think that it's going to be a fairly easy schedule. Honestly, I think that they're just going to roll, but if anybody's going to give them fits, it's probably going to be like that little end of the season stretch, like the Arizona game could sneak up on them. West Virginia potentially could sneak up on them again.
I could see them losing at Oklahoma State. That feels like a trap game of where, and it's like it's a kind of a rivalry, right? Like a Texas Tech fan would say TCU is more of a rival. They might even say Baylor's more of a rival. But I mean, Oklahoma State fan, I think, would see that as a rivalry, and could be an opportunity there in Boone Pickens Stadium. That's a tough place to play. A lot of dreams have died in Boone Pickens Stadium. That could be where the undefeated season goes off the rails. And I think that TCU can give them hell, man. I mean, they got us at home, but I think that I'm not going to pick us to win necessarily, but I think we can give them hell.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's going to be a little different. And just so you know, Dishfish, Lubbock is probably closer to freaking Stillwater than Fort Worth is. It's not, but don't fact check me.
No, that's definitely. I don't
Don't
think
fact
so.
check me.
I don't think that's remotely true.
Don't fact check me. I said don't fact check me.
Yeah.
But let's be real. We had to buy Lubbock twice. Once in the Louisiana Purchase, and then the second time we had to go and win it from the Mexicans. So, if anything, they're anti-American twice.
You say we bought it in the Louisiana Purchase, but the southern border was never really settled in the Louisiana Purchase. It was very vaguely, constructed there.
Hey, crudely drawn or not, we had to buy you twice.
Yeah. Okay. So, and also, I don't think technically Texas was part of the Mexican cession. I think that the Mexican cession just included New Mexico through California, because we had technically won our independence. It was just they're now recognizing it and we're being annexed. Okay, so number 7, your number 7 most difficult schedule, Colorado, 87 points. And the only reason you will notice Colorado had the exact same point total as Texas Tech. The difference is Colorado has to play Texas Tech, so that's why Colorado is higher on the difficulty scale. So let's get Colorado's schedule up here for us to look at. I feel like we've already mentioned so many teams playing Colorado. All right, they got to go to Georgia Tech and to Northwestern, so 2 road Power 5 games, albeit one of those is pretty manageable. But then they play at Arizona State, at Oklahoma State. Those are their toughest road games. They also have Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas State, Houston. Listen, from October 3rd through November 14th is a brutal stretch. It is not going to
be a good time.
That is not going to be fun. A lot of medication will be inhaled in Boulder, Colorado during that stretch. Oh my God, they might not win a single game from there. Yeah, yikes.
Yeah, they are not going to have a good time, like, at all. Also, to answer your question, Dishfish, yes, it does open this year.
Well, there you go. I guess Colorado will be not christening it, but one of the earlier games there.
Yeah. Man, is there a world where they only beat Weber State?
I mean, maybe.
Is there a chance that Weber State actually pulls off an upset?
I mean, it's highly likely.
Are we looking at an 0-12 or to like a 2-14 Colorado team?
Yeah, it's highly likely that UCF game, both of them are playing for their first conference win in that game. I think that's highly likely. This could dip into Oklahoma State territory for sure, where they're 1-11. That one win being Weber State. Is it Weber? Probably. Is it German? Weber.
I don't know. I always used to call it Weber State, and then somebody corrected me saying that it is Weber.
Yeah, I've always called it Weber from the first time I saw them in NCAA football 2005.
Weber State. From Ogden, Utah.
I knew it was in Utah. What a dweeby name.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Colorado. Yikes. It's not a particularly easy schedule, as you see, and they're not a particularly good team. So that'll land you at number 7. And right above them is that team that I was talking about. They may be playing that last game to decide who has a win in conference, the UCF Knights, 88 difficulty points. Let's check it out, Brownie.
Boom. Eat it, Pitt.
Boom. Yeah, they do play Pitt. They play at Pitt.
They're going to lose to Pitt.
They're going to lose. They're going to lose that.
They are so going to lose.
They might lose to Georgia State. So they'll beat Bethune-Cookman.
Are we sure about that, though?
Performance out of it. I think so.
Are we sure about that, though?
Yeah. Looking at this,
they are going to get absolutely demolished.
This is the 1-11 team. I think because Colorado at least plays UCF at home.
Yeah, and they
literally
had to
every
go
game.
on the road at Kansas.
Yeah,
Like,
every game
you
they were
at
like,
least could have competed against Kansas if it was at home.
yeah, every game
But
they
you're
go like,
going to
oh,
Lawrence
maybe
in
they can get that.
November.
Yeah, and like, I mean, maybe they sneak up on Baylor because like maybe Baylor doesn't have a coach by then. But yeah, like it's literally like they get punched in the face very early. I mean, TCU, Houston, Oklahoma State, BYU is tough. That's very tough.
Maybe they can fight against Baylor.
Yeah.
Maybe Aranda
But
is
have they
gone by
completely
then.
lost the will to live by that point? By the time they get to Halloween versus Baylor,
I think we should already start placing bets on how long it takes UCF fans to start turning on Scott Frost Experiment 2.0.
yeah, truly.
Because he went to Nebraska, he couldn't rebuild Nebraska, and now he's coming back to UCF because Gus Malzahn did not do good at recruiting because Gus Malzahn had to not be the recruiter.
Yep.
So is Scott Frost going to be unemployed by like the BYU game?
I don't think they'd fire him mid-season, and it's year 2. Like I don't think they do that.
Yeah, but with as much money as UCF has, like you'd think that they'd be good by now.
If he goes winless or one win in conference, I think he can him at the end of the year. But I don't think they'd. I mean, he's their legendary coach, right? Not that he ever built anything, but he's the one.
He won with somebody else's roster.
Yeah, I mean,
and somebody else's offensive playbook, and somebody else's defensive playbook.
I just don't think they can in midseason. I don't think so. But I will say this:
UCF can too. They got that Mickey Mouse money.
Yeah, BYU is a fascinating choice for the space game, and I will leave it at that. Please, for my personal enjoyment, UCF, make BYU the space game. That's all I ask. Okay.
No
moving, if you know, you know. Moving right along. Your number 5 most difficult schedule in the Big 12 in 2026. A team that may not have a coach the whole way through. The Baylor Bears, ladies and gentlemen. 92 difficulty points for the Baylor Bears. Let's pull it up. Shabam. They got Auburn at a neutral site. So, that's an opportunity for a loss early. Obviously, they dropped the Auburn game this past season. It's, the schedule very backloaded. You got Iowa State at BYU, Texas Tech at Houston. They may not have a coach by then. They may lose every single one of those games. Well, I've been talking about Dave Aranda getting fired so early. They'll probably be 3-1 going into Arizona State.
Yeah.
Right? So then if you think they drop Arizona State TCU, they beat Kansas UCF.
Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah.
How dumb would it be if they somehow still get to hold on, like Dave Aranda holds on to his job even with this hard of a schedule because he beat all of the cupcakes?
Yeah, this has 5 and 7 written all over it, and
oh my god, what happens if they actually go 6 and 6?
Well, they're totally going to keep Dave Aranda, and Baylor fans are going to be like beside themselves. But the administration will be like, "Well, look at that, hey, went to a bowl game, man. You improved. That's an improvement."
Oh my god, Dishfish! If that actually would happen, Dave Aranda's probably getting a lifetime contract.
Oh yeah, I think that's the thing that Baylor fans would want the least, right?
Yeah,
because that would mean nothing. That upset would mean absolutely nothing.
It would just mean one more year of Aranda.
I will bet you anything that stadium is 75% red and black for that Baylor game.
75? I would happily say it's probably like closer to 90.
Yeah,
I think they're checked out by then.
Yeah. Oh, mercy.
Oh my god. If they somehow pull off 6 wins, though, that would be the dumbest thing ever.
And
if they won the butthole of all games.
Yeah. If that was their 6th, yeah.
My god.
To go to the New Mexico Bowl or wherever the hell.
I'm here for the chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we are into the top 4 here, the upper echelon. And you've seen them all behind me. The real question is, what order are they going to fall in? Let me make myself bigger so you can see a little bit better. West Virginia, Arizona, Cincinnati, and Kansas. What order will they fall in? Well, your number 4 most difficult schedule is those Kansas Jayhawks. All right. Let's pull it up here. Kansas. We're going to share it. Here we go. Missouri is a very tough game. Arizona State and London is a very tough game. They are very easily 2-2 going into that Utah game, right? With those 2 wins being Long Island and Tennessee. I don't think they beat Missouri or Arizona State. They couldn't beat Missouri with Jalen Daniels. They're not going to do it without Jalen Daniels. Then you got at Arizona State. No, sorry, I'm looking at Baylor. You got at Utah, at Kansas State, Baylor, at TCU. I mean, this is a very tough road schedule. Utah, Kansas State, TCU, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. Yikes. And you play BYU. I'm trying to. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This is giving 3 wins. Am I wrong?
The real question you should have is, does Lance Leipold make it past the Sunflower Showdown?
Well, because they're not going to win that game.
No.
I mean, if they couldn't win it last year, they're never going to win.
That's 6 games. You're going to go 2-4. And Leipold has been regressing every single year.
Yeah.
When do you pull the plug?
That's a good question.
Because remember, he started off 2021 bare cabinets, right? You went 2-10. 2022, you went 6-7, so there was that increase. Then you had that 9-4 year where you did a lot of upsets in 23. You won the guaranteed rate bowl. And now he's back down to 5-7 and 5-7 again. Are they going to keep keeping mediocrity? Because like Jalen Daniels is the reason why they were as good as they were, and I will stand on that hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if they go 2-4, does he survive the back half of the season to potentially get?
I think it depends on how bad that Kansas State loss is. Right,
it's going to be probably a slaughter.
If it is, then maybe they do. But
because I just personally feel that Colin Klein is probably going to rub salt in the wound that game.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think he holds back at all. He might just tell his defense to let KU score just so he can score more points. Bring it back.
Yeah, could get nasty. It could get very nasty. And it doesn't help. Nasty. I mean, like I said,
and that
part of just mathing is teams at the bottom end of the conference tend to have the tougher schedules just because everyone's above them. But this is when you look at where I have them positioned in relation to the difficulty, this is the worst team with the hardest schedule, if that makes sense. Right. So it's going to be very hard for Kansas to climb out of this. Yeah. Very tough. And right above them, it's highly unfortunate because I think that this team is heading in the right direction. And I think that they could be a lot better, but their schedule does them no favors at all. West Virginia is at number 3, 94 difficulty points. Here it is. They got the neutral site game against Virginia. I think that they can beat Coastal Carolina. I think that, and maybe even Virginia, because Virginia's going to be retooling. So there's a world where they're 2-1, maybe even 3-0 going into Oklahoma State. But the conference schedule is tough. Oklahoma State, at Iowa State, Arizona, at TCU, at Texas Tech, Houston, at Utah. That's a tough road to hoe, man. And I think they'll be a lot better. They got a lot of pieces, especially in the skill positions that I like. But that's very, very tough competition.
I think that this is going to go one of two ways. Either West Virginia is going to absolutely surprise us by rickrolling everybody on that schedule, or we're just going to have to come to terms that whatever their final record is not solely off of Rich Rod and what Rich Rod is trying to do. It's just he got a loaded deck.
Yeah.
He is literally fighting 2 aces with the other 2 aces on the board, and he's sitting on a 2-7 offsuit. I'm sorry, like, you can try your freaking hardest, but when you are arguably fighting, like, 4 of the top 5 teams in the Big 12, like, you
Mhm.
unless you have a miracle up your sleeve, like, you're just yeah, you're in for a pain of hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, for the top 5, yeah, for sure. I mean, if I'm being charitable, I think 5 wins is a ceiling, right? And of course, they could sneak up on people. They,
Yeah.
they could beat an Oklahoma State at home, for sure.
I think it's
They could even beat an
realistically
Arizona
going
at home or
yeah,
Houston.
I think it's really, like, their season is gonna come down to, like, how they play in that October timeframe.
Mm.
Because, like, yeah, you can chalk up that Kansas to being a win, but I think whatever their record is coming out of October, you could probably only expect one more win.
Yeah,
So they need to get bowl eligible like by probably October 17th to guarantee their bowl slot. To where then Kansas obviously can be their 7th win of the season. But I mean, if you're gonna go into that like TCU, Tech, KU, Houston, Utah stretch, and you're needing 2 games for eligibility, you are gonna be very pressed to find that.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And in another instance of kicking someone when they're down, Cincinnati has
Cincinnati,
the
yeah.
second hardest schedule in the Big 12. 98 difficulty points by my reckoning. This team has lost so many pieces, most of which to the portal. Scott
Yeah.
Satterfield, I think, is not that guy. And here they've got just an impossible mountain to climb. A manageable non-conference, but oh my God. Kansas State, you go to Arizona, to West Virginia, Texas Tech, Utah in back-to-back weeks, then at Houston, at Iowa State, Colorado, and BYU. Um, for some reason, they're not playing TCU on rivalry week. Don't know how that happened. Which, by the way, thank you, Big 12, for putting TCU Tech on rivalry week. Thank you so much for putting a real rivalry there and Farmageddon. We should say that. But my Lord, um, this is another situation where, and by the way, let me look. I got to make sure this is right. Okay, no, it was West Virginia that I had playing 6 teams in the top half of the conference. Everyone else who in the top 9 most difficult schedules play 5 teams that I have in the top half of the conference. But West Virginia was the only one that had played 6. So Cincinnati playing 5 teams in the top half of the conference.
Yeah, but
Very rough.
those 5 teams are Texas Tech, probably arguably number 1,
Yeah,
BYU,
BYU number
probably
2.
number 2,
Yeah,
Houston, probably top 5, Utah, probably
yeah,
top 5, and Arizona top 5. Like,
yep.
so yeah, their top 5 in the half are also probably 1 through 5.
I mean, I have
So,
TCU in the top 5. I'll tell you that. But yeah,
yeah. So, but like when you're literally looking at this thing, Boston College is not going to be an easy win for them. Western Carolina is going to be probably their easiest game non-con because Miami of Ohio ain't no slouch either. And it's in Ohio, so like there might be some sort of bloodbath there, but like yeah, that Big 12 stint is rough because
yeah,
even if you've gone the past few years of history, like none of those teams are below 500.
yeah. I mean, I can't wait to talk to our boys
From Viva.
from the Bearcat podcast. But like literally, the Cincinnati fan experience since the beginning of November has to just be one long stretch of one long groan of misery. Like now looking at the schedule after having lost literally everyone of consequence on your roster,
Yep.
my God, terrible.
Yep.
And there's only one team that has it worse. A team that, man, hey, look at that. They made some progress this last year. Can they compete for the Big 12 title? I don't know, man, because they have the most difficult schedule in the Big 12 with 104 difficulty points. The Arizona Wildcats, by my reckoning, have the hardest schedule in the Big 12. Let's take a look at it. They go to BYU in week 2. They go to Wazoo. to round out their non-conference. They play Cincinnati at West Virginia, Iowa State at Texas Tech. So they play BYU and Tech on the road. They have to play TCU and Utah, and then go to Kansas State, then play Arizona State. Holy freaking crap. From October 24th on, this schedule is just one ass beating after another. So one battle after another is up for an Oscar, right? This is one ass beating after another. Oh my God. How do you survive this, Arizona? I would like to know. 104 points. What do you think, Brownie?
Slaughter. I think that they definitely have the potential of the roster to compete with the hardest schedule. It's just going to be more so the way that the cookie crumbles, I think, in those closer games.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I think that they could probably try to compete with BYU. Wazoo is going to be probably an easy win, even though you're traveling all the way to Pullman, Washington.
Uh-huh.
At West Virginia is going to be a tough one. Having Iowa State at home is probably going to be one of your saving graces for some of the tougher teams.
Yeah.
But then you're looking at Tech versus TCU versus Utah, at K-State, and then versus Arizona State for a rivalry game to finish the season. Like, just that stretch of game alone is going to be tough because you're not going to have a reset game.
Yeah. Yeah, it just keeps coming. The years start coming and they don't stop coming, to quote the poet laureate Smash Mouth.
It's like the SEC. This is a gauntlet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, doesn't get harder than that. And I cannot wait to talk to our Arizona friends about how they see the Wildcats navigating this so difficult schedule. So there you have it. The non-negotiable, absolutely true, scientifically proven most difficult schedules in the Big 12 for 2026. And so much to look forward to. When we get into April, I think we're going to start doing these team previews. So look out for that. Get excited for that. Until then, that is our show for this week. And we'll be back with you next Tuesday. So Brownie, remind the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, at Cyclone Brownie on X and Blue Sky. Follow After Dark CF as well on X. Join our Cyclones After Dark Discord for all things Big 12 related as well as Cyclone specific. Have fun.
Yeah. And subscribe to the show, you troglodytes, at Big 12 VOCFB. There it is. Crawling across the bottom of the screen. Inch one, measuring the marigolds. There it goes. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55. And subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Creations. Check out the Voice of College Football on all your social medias. Download us wherever you get your podcasts. As far as I am aware, we'll be back to normal time next week at 6 p.m. So be there or be square. Until then, I love you. I hope your team wins. Stay warm in there, out there. Hopefully you're in there. And go Big 12. We'll see you around, folks.